You don't grow into a great songwriter, you write your way into one, writing enough songs to outgrow your early ones. When I look back on my early songs, one thing I noticed is that my hooks weren't very strong. Now, if you're just starting out as a songwriter, I want to point you to my free course, Becoming a Songwriter. It covers a lot of the important foundations. But if you're someone who's been writing for a while, I want to show you the one shift that separates early songwriters from seasoned ones and changes how your messages land forever. When we begin writing, it's like we're handed a box of colors, right? Every stroke, words, chords, melodies is a new experience. Song by song, we paint until one day those same colors start to feel limiting. So we add more chords, more words, more demanding melodies, and soon we're writing the same song over and over, just louder and thicker and busier. And this is where most writers quit. We assume we lack the talent to write better. But the shift isn't about complexity, it's simplicity. And there's one place in almost every song where simplicity matters most, and that's called the hook. If you hang around Nashville songwriters, it won't take more than a hot minute before you hear the word hook. The hook, as we songwriters see it, it's the title, right? It's the single word or phrase that sums up the meaning, and it happens at the top of the chorus, at the end of the chorus, and sometimes again right in the middle. It can also sit at the beginning or the end of each verse as a refrain. But the hook isn't just words. When Kacey Musgraves sings High Horse, the words are sticky because they're also attached to the melody. High horse. And she sings that same melody every time, and that melody belongs only to this song. Now, stay a while in LA, and the definition of a hook can even be interpreted as like a thematic musical element, like Stevie Wonder's Superstition bass riff. Goes like this, right? These hooks are instrumental and can be highly rhythmic, but the essential ingredient of a hook is that it establishes the identity of the song. When we hear it, we have to think within seconds, oh, that's that song. I want to focus on the kinds of hooks that are both melodic and lyric, and typically appear in the choruses of our songs, because that's much of what we songwriters, regardless of whether or not we play an instrument, end up being responsible for creating. All right, when we don't have a strong hook, it's like we build up all this expectation and then it doesn't deliver. And you know that feeling. You write right up to the first line of the chorus, and then you don't know what to say. You feel the weight of that line, right? It should be something important, and we know that as writers. But what we do then is we tend to write around the idea instead of saying it directly. Now, Caylee Hammack, an awesome artist within the country style of writing, has this song called Bed of Roses. Now, that's not the first time you've heard that, particularly if you're my age. Good hooks don't have to be new or novel, but what they do need to be is inarguably the core idea of the song. Caylee uses this great technique of placing the hook right in that first line of the song, and that helps us as writers to focus as we're writing, like we're establishing, this is what I am writing about. Here's what she does. I'm growing a bed of roses. Bitter grapes make the sweetest wine. The holes I'm digging are just seeds I'm sowing from my bed of roses, where I'm sleeping just fine. The imagery and the content stem from the idea of the hook itself, the roses, right? Now, she also weaves in metaphor, comparing roses to the thing that she's really talking about, which is this relationship that she's trying to move past. This is a technique that I talk a lot about in the EMC Institute. And if you want to learn more how to use imagery and metaphor like this in your own writing, come to my live songwriting classes in the EMC Institute online school. Twice a month, I teach these tools for writing better songs, and you'll have the opportunity to share what you've written with me and the community. And you'll meet guest writers and artists who might just have written some of your favorite songs, as well as be able to learn from industry guests and sessions spanning topics from the business to the craft. So definitely check that out. Now, a hook should not have to explain the song. It's the point of origin for the song. So another way of saying that is when it comes, it really should feel like the natural conclusion. Yeah. So if we only focus on the lyric content when we write hooks, we miss out on a large part of what can make the hook powerful. This part is really all about rhythm. A good hook needs to be words we want to sing, right? And nobody knows that better than vocalists. Titles like, or hooks like, Espresso, Gravity, Death of a Bachelor, Take Me to Church, right? What all these hooks have in common is that their rhythm sings really well. It's the rhythm that makes it possible to pair that melody with something that is memorable and repeatable. But what is unmemorable then, if I want to create something memorable? I'm going to say some lines that have random rhythmic characteristics, because that makes them hard to sing to a melody that is sticky. No sleep and dreams don't come. I almost believed you, then didn't. We started fast, stalled, then exploded. You know, they're too long, almost humorous, with unpredictable rhythms and unpredictable pauses. Well, that doesn't mean that they're impossible to set to sticky melodies. It just means that we've got to be really intentional about it, right? So the melody and the lyric together should give us the feeling that they were always meant to be. So with lyrical hooks that are longer, we focus on writing a melody that allows for more repetition of smaller rhythmic ideas. So going back to Stevie, instead of just saying, I just called to say I love you, right? He says, I just called to say I love you. A more memorable rhythm makes what we're singing sound more significant too. Now, the hook is the doorway into the song, and you gotta unlock it for the listener. It's something like, pain is a lonely traveler, or coming to terms with the truth, needs a lot more explanation to land. But hooks like, a change would do you good, or let's get it on, are easy to remember, right? They swing the door wide open. Just because it's true doesn't make it a good hook. You can write a song with the hook as your seed or arrive at the hook as you write the song. But whatever way you write it, ask yourself this. If someone hears only this hook, would they be more or less interested in hearing the rest of the song? If the answer is less, simplify till it's yes. Now, instead of writing another song today, make a list of words or phrases that genuinely interest you. Grab a book, lift words and phrases from it. If you come up dry, this is a great technique to gather titles and hooks. Now, the point is, hooks are absolutely everywhere. And once you believe that, you can begin to be more particular about the hooks that you choose to write into songs. If this helped you to rethink your hooks, I'd love to know how in the comments below. See you next time.